you are. Glad to see you joining us on this beautiful Sunday. This is our weekly Ancient Secrets Miracle Call. I'm Luke, I'm your host today, and Geralyn is my co-host. This is Geralyn's first time hosting. Let's wave to Geralyn and say hi. Good morning, Geralyn. Thanks for hosting.
Hello, good morning, good morning.
Geralyn has actually a very, very interesting background. You want to share with us a little bit about yourself, Geralyn?
Certainly, I would love to. So I pref- so I have a long history of something that started back when I was 17 years old, and I had a out-of-body experience. It's like I made it all the way through high school through a very controlled environment, and then as soon as I graduated from high school, I my nervous system said, I've controlled as much as possible. I can't do this anymore. So I was at a beach and I left my body and I was at the concession stand and I didn't understand what was really going on. And I was next to my body, but I couldn't manage my body. But I was fully conscious that I was not in my body. And so at that time, I had to go see a neurologist and I was placed on phenobarbital, which is a very strong sedative hypnotic, and I slept like for a month almost, just under this very heavy drug. And in that time, I learned, so they diagnosed me with a seizure disorder. And so the phenobarbital actually only moved the seizure to another part of my brain. And so it wasn't really that helpful. And so I went back to the neurologist and I said, this is a spiritual imbalance and I can figure this out. And of course, that wasn't very well received. And I was ridiculed for thinking that I had answers about my neurological system. But that actually started my road to knowing that the healer is within me. So if I woke up too quickly, my face would swell up. And that was really kind of bizarre. And so it didn't match anything that books would say. So I learned how to go down very, very deep to slowly bring myself back up to consciousness. And so I learned how to speak to myself and awaken myself slowly. And if I ever felt a zinging in my body at all, I would put myself back down consciously to this very deep place. And I think that that was the road that took me to realize that the healer really was within. I told the doctor I wanted to get off of phenobarbital because I'd have to get blood tests every few weeks because it really destroys your liver and other parts of your body, and I didn't like it. I decided that I was going to find a way off this medication, and I knew I couldn't discontinue it myself, so I went and searched for another doctor to help me get off of it. And he told me, I'll, decrease it for you only if you learn to meditate. And I said, yes, 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 because I wanted to do anything that would help me get off of this medication. So I did learn how to meditate and I did get off the medication. And I think that was how I became a registered nurse and I spent 40 years as a registered nurse, primarily as a psychiatric and mental health nurse because I really believed that the healer was within. And then about 3 years ago, I graduated with a master's in Ayurveda and integrative medicine, and we were required to learn transcendental meditation. And in the process of learning that, I realized, when you do TM, you go down into the unified field. And I realized, oh my gosh, this is where I went when I was 17 in order to learn how to manage my neurological system is I went into the unified field, but I had no idea, or the quantum field, we also call it now. And I really learned how to trust myself more than the outside world. And so in tying this into our theme today of how to stay young throughout your life, I truly believe it's so important for us to believe in ourselves and follow our own heart and not listen to the external world and do your best. Because I have to say that in nursing, in mental health, and in psychiatry, there was no room for holistic health, but I was made of that. And I knew I was made of that. And I knew that there are all these different dimensions, but there's no way to talk to anybody in the medical field about that through most of my career. So coming into Dr. Naram's meditation, the Unstoppable Meditation, and he talked about there are no problems, there are only challenges, and all the challenges are opportunities. So when Luke asked me to be a co-host, my first thing was, oh no, I can't do that. I can't be seen. I can't do that. And I went into flight and freeze. And so actually that is not the place to go for longevity, flight and freeze, because it just stirs up all of the epinephrine and the cortisol, and it ages us really quickly. Our heart beats faster, our digestion slows down, our blood pressure pumps up. As if we're running away. And I thought, oh, okay, I need to neutralize this as quickly as possible. And I can do this sharing and this call as a co-host. So I truly appreciate all that Dr. Naram has given us, because it's so important to realize we really are unstoppable. And that Shakti that's within us is our healer. It's that connection between our subconscious, our conscious, and our superconscious. And I really feel like Ancient Secrets has given us the tools to truly apply and share it with other people in this world, and just spread this kind of love and discovering our authentic self with these principles. It's truly amazing and a beautiful gift. So I'm happy to be a part of all of that.
Thank you, Geralyn. I'm so happy you accepted to be co-host. You're a natural. Let's send Geralyn a blast of love, please.
I accept. I accept.
Thank you for being with
Thank
us, Geralyn.
you. Thank you.
So we have a wonderful program today. The theme of the day is staying young at any age, and we'll talk about that. I have a really interesting 6-minute video to show you all. First, let's bring up the disclaimer. Vinay, I think you have the disclaimer, right? So as it says, the information shared on this call is intended for educational purposes only and is not meant to diagnose or treat any medical or emotional condition. And please see the medical disclaimer in the beginning of the pages of Ancient Secrets of a Master Healer or on the website. And of course, always talk to your doctor before making any health-related changes. Thank you. So Geralyn and I are from the great state of Washington in the Pacific Northwest. And if you could all take a moment and put into the chat where you're from. And if you're new, please put into the chat that you're new so we can welcome you. And Geralyn, you can keep an eye on the chat, see if anybody's new.
I will do that.
Yeah. So again, the theme of the day is staying young at any age, and we'll show the quote in a little while. First, let's have some announcements from Katie.
If I can unmute myself, there we go. Geralyn, thank you so much. That was just beautiful sharing. Truly so articulate and well said. Yeah, thank you. So announcements. We have a new healing center in Nepal with Dr. Apur, and he was on last week, the week before. But in the email newsletter, there are links for more information. And in celebration of this, Dr. Clint has been offering for last week and for one more week, half off of consultations with Dr. Vinay or another practitioner. So you have one more week to have a consultation for $75. and the link is in the email. I cannot recommend it enough. This is such a great opportunity to start or continue, pick up your healing journey. Also, in that vein, we have the self-guided courses. We have the Ancient Secrets 101, the 100 Days course that you can start anytime you are ready, and that's self-guided. And we have the self-guided 30-day delicious detox or the 7-day delicious detox. And those are available for you whenever you want them, anytime you're ready to sign yourself up and get that part of your journey going or going again, continuing. And I think that that is not all. That is, we have, Carol, I think you have the image for Gary Malkin and Hope Fitzgerald.
Yes, indeed. This is
yes, thank
a
you.
beautiful concert that's going to be held at the Grace Cathedral in San Francisco, Union Square area. And this is a really big deal. It kind of culminates on the 99 Days of Peace. This is part of Pathways to Peace, and it's a beautiful venue that will be broadcast 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, and then there'll be 1,000 or so people in attendance there. And before the concert, Hope and Gary are doing a workshop of moving from grief to acceptance and beyond. And it's a beautiful event that so many people that we know. One of the event managers on this is Mindy Barrett, and Jenny's involved, so a lot of folks that we know. So hope you can, if you're in San Francisco, come along. If you're wanting inspiration, hope you can sign up to be part of the online broadcast. Thanks so much for showing the poster.
Thank you, Carol. Katie, do we have more announcements, or is that it? That's it. Okay. Before we move into the theme of the day, which is staying young at any age, we're going to do just a short meditation to some beautiful meditation music so we can move from our heads to our hearts. It's always a nice way to begin our calls. So, Vinay, can you bring up that meditation video? And we're just going to take a few minutes, listen to the beautiful music, close your eyes, and let yourself feel love. Let your heart fill with love and joy as you close your eyes and just relax and bring your energy from your head to your heart. You can envision in your heart maybe a candle flame or a golden light, and just relax. The music should come on any moment. Just listen to the music and feel the love, feel the joy. Just feel yourself settling down in peace, complete peace and joy. Every cell in your body is filled with joy and love. Just take a few minutes now within you. Feel the peace within you. Feel that beautiful love in your heart. Feel in your body, filled with love and joy. And know that you are one with all that is. You are divine consciousness. And you know this to be true. And you feel it. Feel the peace. Feel the love. Feel the joy. And slowly, slowly bring your consciousness back. Knowing that you're a divine being, a being of love and joy. When you're ready, you can open your eyes to a new reality. Thank you, Renee.
Is Luke still here?
I think you may have dropped off. A
I just got him back in.
Okay.
Is there anyone else who is new on the call? You can raise your hand down in the react button, and then we will find you and welcome you.
Well, that was an Aditi Divabawa moment. Zoom decided to kick me out for a moment at the end of the meditation, but I'm back.
We thought you dissolved into light, Luke.
That's right, I did. I dissolved into light, but I'm back now with a whole new me. This is a new Luke. Geralyn, were there any new people in the chat?
I did welcome Deborah from Ferndale, Michigan, and I'm from Detroit, so I certainly know where she's at.
Hey, wonderful. All right. So the theme of the day is staying young at any age. And the way this came about was I was holding the book in my hand during meditation. I didn't know what the theme would be, but as I held the book in my hand, I came across this quote and I said, that is absolutely perfect. Youth is a condition achievable at any age when someone is physically flexible, mentally alert, and willing to learn and emotionally full of love. And this is a quote by Baba Ram Das, who was Dr. Naram's teacher for many years, who he himself lived to be 125 years. And this is from the book on page 122. So this theme today is all about staying young at any age. You can remove the quote, please. And before we get into sharing about what each one of us does to stay young at any age, we're going to watch a really fascinating 6-minute video by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I've had the good fortune of knowing Dr. Joe for about 28 years personally. We were both students, he and I and others. Ariana was in that too, in an ancient school of wisdom where we learned a lot of the things that he's teaching today. And he's always been a very articulate teacher, very brilliant, and he backs everything up with science. So this particular video we're going to watch is on the topic of staying young, and he shows experimentation with elderly people, and he backs it up with science. When you do certain things, you actually become younger. So let's watch this. It's only about 6 minutes. I think you'll enjoy it.
And the body, as the unconscious mind, does not know the difference between the actual experience in your life that creates the emotion and the emotion that you're
Turn the
fabricating
volume
by
up.
thought alone. To the body, it's exactly the same.
While researching his book, You Are the Placebo, Joe Dispenza made an amazing discovery about reverse aging. During the book's creation, he evaluated hundreds of placebo trials, amongst which he discovered this. On a crisp September morning, a group of 8 men in their 70s and 80s climbed into a few vans and drove 2 hours north of Boston to a monastery in New Hampshire. They were about to take part in a 5-day retreat in which they were asked to pretend that they were 22 years younger than their current age. They flipped through old issues of Life and the Saturday Evening Post. They watched movies and television shows popular in 1959, and they listened to recordings of Perry Como and Nat King Cole on the radio. They also talked about current events, such as Fidel Castro's rise to power in Cuba, Russian Premier Nikita Khrushchev's visit to the United States, and even the feats of baseball star Mickey Mantle. All of these experiences were cleverly designed to help the men actually feel and imagine that they were 22 years younger. The following week, another group of 8 men in their 70s and 80s made that same trip, but instead of being asked to pretend that they actually were 22 years younger, they were asked simply to reminisce about that same time in their lives. After each 5-day retreat, the researchers took several measurements and compared them to those they'd taken before the start of the study. The bodies of the men from both groups were physiologically younger, structurally as well as functionally. The researchers discovered improvements in height, weight, and gait. The men grew taller as their posture straightened, and their fingers lengthened as their arthritis diminished. Their eyesight and hearing got better, their grip strength improved, their memory sharpened, and they scored better on tests of mental cognition. The men had literally become biologically younger during those 5 days, right in front of the researchers' eyes. And the head researcher recalled that he was actually playing touch football with some of these older men. These men didn't just feel younger, they physically became younger. The change wasn't just in their minds, it was in their bodies. But there was a major difference. The first group, who had pretended they were 22 years younger, had improved significantly above the other group who had just reminisced about being younger. This amazing discovery led to 2 questions. 1, what's the mechanism via which elderly seniors pretending they're younger can actually influence their body to become biologically younger? And 2, how can we all do the same? In You Are the Placebo, Joe explains how our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs influence our cells and even our genes. This model of reality suggests that certain genes can be switched on and off based on the information cells receive from their environment, via the way that thoughts and emotions influence biochemistry, which cells then interpret and act on. Most of us day in, day out have the same sets of experiences and thoughts, based around the same locations, places, and people. That was certainly the case for these elderly seniors whose environments reflected back to them the reality of who they were, including their biological age. But that was before they went to the monastery. Through pretending to actually be 22 years younger, the thoughts and emotions required to do this massively stimulated their cells, which Joe suggests would then have acted on this new information in significant ways. The biological changes observed were not subtle, and of course there's more information in Joe's book. However, for us to work with the same phenomenon, the same mechanism, it's more or less a simple strategy. Create audio and visual cues. Watch the old movies and television programs you used to enjoy the most. Listen to the music of your youth. The songs you loved, not just liked, loved, we're passionate about, because we also have to create elevated emotions. And Dr. Joe explains why.
So, is it possible then, if the environment signals the gene, and it does, and the end product of an experience in the environment is called an emotion, can you signal the gene ahead of the environment by embracing an elevated emotion? We've done the research on this. We've measured 7,500 different gene expressions in a group of people. The gene for oxidative stress was upregulated. We started seeing all these genes that are very, very healthy to cause the body to flourish. Imagine if people were doing that for 3 months. We also measured telomeres, determine their biological age. 74% of the people lengthened their telomeres. 40% significant change. That means that they got a little bit of their life back.
Interrupt your daily habitual lifestyle patterns with regular activities that you loved from when you were young. The events you attended, sports you used to play, the songs you mastered when learning a musical instrument, any video games you might have played, which for many of us gave rise to strong elevated emotions. All deeply associated with your youth and all likely to stimulate your cells in ways similar to those elderly seniors. And if you can't actually do these things, imagine them with real emotion.
Because thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body. And how you think and how you feel creates a state of being. And the body, as the unconscious mind, does not know the difference between the actual experience in your life that creates the emotion and the emotion that you're fabricating by thought alone. To the body, it's exactly the same.
There are thought patterns that anchor us to a certain biological reality, which echo back to us the state of our health and our physical age. Dr. Joe has said many times that we need to carefully edit our thoughts if we're to make changes to our personal reality. A change in mind can lead to a significant change in the body. This idea opens doors to new realities, and honestly, it's hard to imagine just what the limits are when we start programming ourselves this way at the deepest possible levels. What are the limits? We're going to find out. Expect to see older people looking younger and younger as more of us learn to develop and explore this power. And if you want to learn more about that, learn how Eckhart Tolle slows down his age. That's equally as fascinating, and I think some of these ideas work with Joe's ideas really effectively. Now, if you found any of that helpful, please hit the like button. Much appreciated, and perhaps I'll see you again.
Thank you. That is such a brilliant video, and I chose that because it's so appropriate to our topic of the day, staying young at any age. And what I love about Joe, even years ago when he would teach, he always backs everything up with science. It's not just about philosophy, it's experiential. And we're going to do some shares in a little while so people can share what they do to stay young at any age. But you know, as he mentioned, and I think we all know at this point, that our thoughts affect our reality. Anything we want to manifest in life, whether it's being young or it's abundance, it comes from our thoughts. And as it said in the movie The Secret, if you saw it, it can't just be about affirmations. It can't just be about wishing or praying. You have to have a focused intention. You have to have emotions, like Joe said in the video. The emotions and the thoughts combined create our reality, including staying young at any age. You know, for myself, I mean, we are all in a perfect community here, Ancient Secrets. All the things we do with our diet and our marmas and the love that we share with one another, it all lends itself towards staying young. So we're so fortunate that we have each other in this community. It helps us to stay young. You know, some other things, I mean, some of the things that I do also is daily physical exercise and eating well, you know, eating a good diet and meditating. And as Geralyn talked about in her story, it's about creating your reality and taking your strong belief and your knowingness and turning that into your reality of who you are, including staying young. I find exercise very important, daily exercise, walking. You know, I do some light dumbbell lifting. I do meditation. I do Qigong. I'm starting to do Tai Chi again. I was an accomplished martial artist for many years. I'm starting to bring that back into my life a little bit. So anything we can do in our lives that relates to how we can stay young really turns out to make us feel younger and be younger. As you saw in the video, it wasn't just feeling younger. He scientifically showed that the telomeres lengthen, it affects the cells. You actually do become younger. So we're going to have some shares now. So if you want to share, raise your hand about what you do in your life to be young at any age. Because youth is not just for the people who are physically 20 or 30 years old. You could be youthful and young at any age by practicing these things. So we'll start out with Shifra.
Good morning. This is a beautiful presentation, and I thank Luke and the new person whose name Geralyn. Yeah,
Geralyn.
and I like that video. Well, I think some of the things I started riding my bike again, and I used to love to ride a bike when I was little. It was just I would always feel like I was flying, and so I've been riding a bike quite a lot. That helps me to feel young. Going out and just playing the harmonica around people, or playing the clarinet, that makes me feel young when I see kids and I make faces with them, and I, play peekaboo and, sing with them. That stuff makes me feel young. And I think that I used to kind of be afraid of children, maybe because of my abuse history. And I don't know, I don't have that fear. And I love being around young. I mean, I love being around people of all ages, but I love being around young people, and I don't have judgment like I used to have. I just feel, I don't know, I just want to, kind of embrace them. And, like when there's a bunch of kids in the subway station, I'll go read them a poem. And instead of, step in instead of the police monitoring them, I step in. And those are the kind of things that I do, and just, I don't know, have fun, and in a way not take myself so seriously, and just be silly. I remember one time I was kind of dressed up, and there was a dog that wanted, I love dogs. I just love dogs. And I thought, well, I'm going to get dirty if I play with this dog. And I thought, what's more important, to play with this beautiful dog, or to keep my clothes clean? I have to play with the dog. That's something I love to do. And I used to love to throw a football. And I'm not home right now, but I'm gonna get a football and throw a football around, because I don't love competition, but I do love throwing balls. And so yeah. And I think this community has really taught me a lot, just by teachings, but also just by example of how to enjoy life and have fun, and be young. And I try to eat healthy and try to get enough sleep, and do that kind of stuff. But that's it. Thank you. Love to you all.
Thank you, Shifra. And if throwing a ball, football, makes you feel younger, you saw in the video the proof of these men watching movies from the past, things that they did in the past. It helped them to not only feel younger, but to be younger. It was scientifically proven in the video. Lynn, how about you?
Well, yesterday was a perfect example. I went out for a 5-mile walk in a beautiful forest, came home, ate a lovely, healthy meal, and then got on my motorcycle, rode about 30 miles to an event center where a favorite band was playing music from the 60s and 70s, and I danced. And when I got there, I kind of looked around and everybody was sitting in chairs. And I thought, oh, there's a lot of older people here. Ah, I don't know. It doesn't have the energy or the vibe that I was expecting. But after a couple of songs and they played something really, really lively, everyone got up and danced. And I could see that youthful energy in so many of the people that were there. And it was so much fun. So I get out to do those kinds of things as often as I can.
Thank you, Lynn. And you bring up a good point. Dancing is a wonderful way to stay young. I've danced my whole life. I love dancing. I oftentimes dance around my house, and it makes me feel so good and so young. So yes, dancing is a fantastic way to stay young. Esther, how about you?
Well, as many of you know, dancing is one of my greatest passions in life. And we have a public plaza here at Abbott Square. And some of my favorite dance partners are often 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 years old, completely uninhibited, and will spontaneously start scrambling through the legs and circling around each other and playing hide and go seek. So Yeah, I think the key is following your heart, but I want to share a few lyrics from a song that came through me way back in '96 when I was 49 years old and at the time thought that was getting old. The Gifts in the Present, it's called. And I won't do the whole song, but the chorus is the gifts in the present, not to fear. Age is a state of mind. I declare my union with the infinite in time. And I found that to be so the essence, the center of the target. If we identify with the body being the primary, it's a whole different story than if we identify with that we are the beingness or whatever name we want to call that. That happens to be, in this body right now. So I'm just going to share real fast the verse and where it goes. Waking up, settling down. Nice to be not lost, but found. Waking up is easy to do. It's all in your attitude. We live in the moment, not clock time. Age is a state of mind. The gifts in the present, not to fear. Age is a state of mind. I declare my union with the infinite in time. The gifts in the present, now's the time. Wake up to the truth sublime. We are love, we are light, we're the ones who make it all right. Bless your body, bless your mind, bathe in the light divine. Bless your body, bless your mind, bathe in the light divine. So that's my share. Thanks.
Beautiful. And of course, singing is definitely another way to stay young. Singing, dancing, doing the things that your body loves, movements, beautiful ways to stay young. Nehemiah, please.
Wow, what beautiful shares. What do I have to add to this? I don't know. Especially Shifra and now Esther. You stole my words, Esther. So I'll just say that after I do my affirmation in front of the mirror and remind myself that the person I see in the mirror is not the real me, the real me is deeper than that, I go to the next thing, which is a teaching for my, actually I'll say this, how do angels fly? You know how they fly? I'm training to be an angel. Not by the power of the wings, because they couldn't fly, in terms of aerodynamics, they are too heavy, by taking themselves lightly. So I'm taking myself, everything I said seriously about I'm the self, I'm immortal, I forget about it and I do what my teacher told me to do. I laugh at myself in front of the mirror. I laugh myself full-heartedly and I say, everything you said is great, but it's all nonsense. You should have already known it. Why you're so serious about it? Anyway, so that's the way I laugh at myself a lot, and I laugh. Basically, I call it even when I make mistake, I say LLL. I said before, live, learn, and laugh instead of live, learn, and cry. So I laugh at myself and everybody, and when people take themselves too seriously, I tell them, "What about the good laugh?" That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. And, I used to practice laughing yoga. I imagine some of you have also practiced that. Laughing yoga is a wonderful way to, all the cells in your body just get uplifted and they're so happy. So laughing is just a beautiful way to stay young as well. Thank you, Nehemiah. Karen, please.
Well, I have similarities to Shifra and Lynn and probably everybody on the screen, but yes, I love to ride my bike. Oh my gosh, it makes me feel like I'm in 5th grade again because I have that freedom and I still get that same free feeling of freedom when I'm on the path or the street or whatever. It's just it's incredible. There's a group of, I'm really lucky in where I live, there's a group of people that get together and play live music at this barn. And it's the music of, my youth. And so I do get to dance to that. And I make time to go to lots of different events that have music. And I'm usually one of the first people up to dance. I don't necessarily want all the focus on me, but I know people are shy. So if there's music and it moves me, I just get up. And I know people are grateful because then they get up. They're always waiting for that first person to get up. And I love hanging out with all different ages, but I also like to hang out with people that are younger than me. So if I keep my energy up, being happy, that feels youthfulness. Just raising the energy is youthful.
Thank you, Karen. Very true words. Our thoughts create our reality. Leonora, please.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Well, I'm one of the bike people too. I sometimes have felt drawn into the world of all the senior citizens that live in that apartment building where I live. It's subsidized housing, and there are waves of high points and not so high points. But the seasons really are making a difference. And I'm taking so advantage right now of the beautiful summer weather. And I'm tanking it, putting it inside myself. So in the wintertime, I will be reminded again of all the physical activities I could do. So 3 days ago, I went on a bicycle ride along the Connecticut River. And I hadn't done this tour from Turner's Falls to Northfield, which is 6 miles, half of it on a major highway with a helmet, but there's a bike path, and the other half along the river. And it was so beautiful. I didn't need other people. It was me, my God, and myself kind of thing, and nature, and these massive trees along that road. And then I went to the hops farm where I harvested the leaves that I'm printing with, and I felt with every mile more invigorated. So the other thing I do is I live in a town, it happens to be the second poorest town in Massachusetts. Very little purchasing power, but a lot of creative people. Most people are on subsidized living, food stamps, subsidized housing. And I find myself over and over inspired in sharing the ancient secrets because I meet a lot of people who have very poor eating habits. And when they see me on my bike, they always say, "Can I ask you how old you are?" And I say, because I don't want them to feel bad. So I don't say it anymore. And I say, we have a biological age and we have an age how we feel. And then the conversations happen. And now I'm so inspired to introduce the mung bean back. And there are a lot of Hispanic people here who don't know anymore where to turn to in their diet the way they were raised. So we have food deserts here in Massachusetts. Springfield is one town. And I feel so empowered by ancient secrets to bring that to the people. And they are so receptive. And that makes me very youthful and useful. And I want to thank this circle of people so much. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Leonora. And yes, as I mentioned before, and as you just mentioned now, we are here in this most beautiful community that helps us stay younger with our diet, our practices, our marmas, the love that we share with one another. When we get together in person once a year, the love that we share, the hugging and everything, all these things lends itself to us staying young. Susan, please.
I love everything everyone's sharing because it's reminding me of all the fun things I love to do. And I think that for those of us who are the youngest children in our families, that we just have a sense of being young. And I don't know if that's true for everyone, but because I'm the youngest, I feel young. And I have a lot of friends who are a little bit older than I am, and I'm usually with that group the youngest, and that there's something really wonderful about just thinking of yourself as the youngest. Oops, there's the phone. So anyway, I just wanted to add that to the mix. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. You know, I am actually the oldest. I have a younger brother, but he acts like he's older than I am. And that's fine because I actually feel like I'm younger than he is. And I've always looked and felt, at least 10 to 12 years younger than I am my whole life. And I always saw myself as younger. It's just the way I saw myself, the way I felt. So again, the way you see yourself, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, lends itself to staying young. Anybody else have a share that they would like to give us about staying young? Jerem, I have a question for you. As a musician with such a beautiful voice, when you sing and play music, do you find that helps you to stay young?
Oh, it always feels enlivening to me, Luke. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I have to remind myself to incorporate it more often, but yes, yes, it's, and as Karen mentioned, going to a collective where people are singing together to me is always very, very, feels like a vitamin fix. So I went to I went to college in New York City at Hunter College, and the only campus was a 16-story building, and we used to have jam sessions in the stairwells, which were incredible echo chambers, and we'd get usually probably anywhere from 5 to 20 people singing and playing together, usually for hours, and cutting class pretty often. But it was well worth it, and I don't recommend the cutting class part of it, but if you have a building with a stairwell, it can be a wonderful venue.
Yes. Thank you. As an adult, sliding down a banister upstairs, that's a nice way to stay young. So Sue Weidenfeld, please let us know what makes you stay young.
Well, I think what I'm aware of, I want to respond a little bit to what Susan said, and that is I have several families because I was born to two people who then had more kids. Those are my adopted parents, and then I was the second oldest in another family. But I just recently visited my sister, who is 9 years younger. 9 years, yeah. And as I walked up to her pickleball group, they said, "Oh, are you Anna's younger sister?" And I thought, I think that continuing to do new things, that like I'm starting a third career, and and going forward, sort of not saying, is this the thing to do for my age, but is this what I want to do? I also love to bike, and I was biking with my half brother, and we were, like 10-year-olds where you hunch over and you like that. And we were scooting up a hill, and I had passed a bunch of young kids a few days before, and I thought, this is just something you can do, and you can feel it throughout your body. What I'm going to do because of this call, and by the way, I'm so impressed and love what everybody has said, is I'm going to listen to more of the music that I loved. I love some current music, and I play it many days, and I dance to it, but I think I'm going to also go back and get some of those special ones. And I love that Luke, I love that you did this whole Joe Dispenza thing. That is fascinating. And I love all the detail, and I love the science. So what I'm doing is those things, and I try not to run things. I try to ask, do I want to do something? Not, am I too old or whatever to do this? I mean, I try to be safe more or less, but I'm learning to do a version of windsurfing called wing foiling. And, people think, oh, well, you can do it. Just keep trying and work on it. And I have a couple adaptations, but it doesn't matter. So I keep trying new things. That's what I say.
Thank you, Sue. And like it was mentioned in the video, if you could bring back into your life the things you did at a younger age, it helps to make you feel younger and be younger. And that was proven scientifically in the video. So yeah, it's a wonderful thing to bring back into your life the things you used to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally
Carol.
love it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Sue. Carol.
So a couple of, I guess this last week, I had opportunity to go to the hospital with my daughter, and we were in the emergency room in Austin, and it was it was very odd. The guy that came in, the tech, he was like, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm her mom." And he goes, "What?" I said, I'm her mom." And he goes, "No way." I said, "Yeah, we grew up together." And he said, that I don't understand this. And I said, yeah, well, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm terrific. And then I touched my toes without bending my knees. And he was like, That's incredible." And I'm so grateful for what we have in Ancient Secrets that give us those tools to overcome the aches and the pains and that, "Oh, I'm so stiff today," and to shift that with, "I'm so alive today." So I'm so grateful for so many. I see these faces here. I just have so much love in my heart, and I'm turning 74 here pretty quick, and it's not so bad. It's not so bad. I'm enjoying the advantages of being able to be in a position of having all of this life lessons. And having a 9-year-old in the house has been fantastic. And I'm still skipping with her. And I'm putting on my silly hats and having parties and playing. She loves to do karaoke. And the karaoke machine had been silent for 10 years and now it's back on. So I love you and I'm with you.
Thank you, Carol. And yes, it brings up a point, and I was mentioning this before, that we are in this beautiful community that we've learned so much about the things we can do to be young at any age. And Carol's turning 74. She certainly doesn't look it. I'm 75 this year, and I do everything I can to stay young and be young and touch my toes. And some of us get together in the early morning that are on this call. We get together and we stretch and we do marmas. And this has really changed my life. It's enhanced my life. It makes me start the day feeling younger and vital and everything. So all these wonderful things that we can do to exhilarate our bodies and make us feel younger. It really does work. Susan.
I got interrupted before, so I just want to say quickly, I just want to notice how as each person is talking about what lights them up and what brings them youth and energy, are you watching their energy and the light in them and the shining and the happiness? And I think that that's, all the scientific proof that we need that your energy completely changes and lightens as you do what makes you feel great. And so it's really been a lot of fun to watch everybody light up. So light up, light up. Thanks.
We're all going to leave this call a lot younger than when we first came into this call. Brett, please.
Hey, Luke, and good morning, everyone. I have absolutely adored and cherished listening to all the shares that have come through and the facilitation of this call. I have a memory that kind of, for me, summarizes what I've been listening to. Back in 2008, 9, and 10, I was my mom's full-time caretaker as she battled multiple myeloma, which is a cancer. And I had so many moments that I got to journal about of what she loved about her life, what she had regrets about, and so forth. But there was a moment when she was maybe she had about 6 to 8 weeks left to live, and we were talking, and she shared. I asked her, what would you like to do differently about your life? And she said, and she's not a overly pensive person. She doesn't think she's decisive as a single mom. She had to handle a lot, but she said, I wish I got to play more. And in those words, she said a few other words as well, but she said, I wish I could have played. And she passed when she was 58 years old. But at 58 years old, and this is back in 2010, I just want to play. So as I'm listening to these wonderful stories, I think something that keeps us young is if we cultivate playfulness in our world. And that means so much to all of us. So thank you so much for reminding me of that. And in this moment, reminding me of my precious mom. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. And yes, absolutely. Playfulness is something that can absolutely keep you young. There's a big difference between belief and knowingness. When you have a knowingness that you're young, then you're young. I mean, I'm 75, and that's just a number. I think of that 75. How is that possible? That can't be me, because there's no way in the world I feel or look 75. So I have that knowingness that I'm young. So when you know you're young, it helps you to actually stay young. So Karen, yes.
Well, I forgot to say that I like to, when you're a little kid, you sometimes you do scary things. So I don't necessarily like to do scary things, but I like to challenge myself. And so there might be something that I'm fearful about, and I just go for it anyway. And I'm continuing to travel as long as I can. So I like to do hiking and meeting new people and seeing new things. And so experiencing newness, when you're a little kid, everything is new. And so I like to experience newness. And however I can do that, whether it's taking a hike in my own town or, traveling to the Grand Canyon and Bryce and Zion like I did this summer. So newness to me is feeling more childlike, and having childlike wonder about things keeps me younger.
Thank you, Karen. Well, as we approach the top of the hour and we will be moving into breakout rooms soon, just know that we are all younger now than we were an hour ago before we came into this call. Just by all the shares and the video we saw and the meditation and the knowingness and the knowledge that we are much younger than we look, and that all the things we do that we talked about that bring things back into your life that you did when you were younger, all these things help to keep you younger. Do we have any last minute shares? Geralyn, do you have anything you'd like to add as the co-host?
Well, one thing I would really say is that we keep our negative thoughts in check when we start judging ourselves for the way we look, or maybe we think we look older, or and any kind of negative thought that we have, or I can't do this, I can't play like a child, and just reframe that thought to become more positive. Yes, I can. I'm capable. I can change this idea and move into something else. And being playful is so important. I want to thank you, Brett, for that, because that's a really important reminder for us to be as playful as possible. Because what is life for? It's for the pursuit of happiness and joy. And when we do that, we bring out the ojas, we bring out the nectar of life and everything that makes our heart happy. And that's the most important thing of way to stay young, is to keep those negative thoughts in check and then turn it into happiness. And I think that's where the Atiti Deva Bhava becomes really one of the key principles for us to hold.
Thank you, Geralyn. Absolutely.
So,
well, if there are no more shares.
One more.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, I think we should have this call once a month. I think we
Okay.
should remind ourselves constantly about this because it's such a good reminder. Thank you.
It is, and we are younger. Remind yourself, it's not that you feel younger or that you wish you were younger. You are younger. We are younger. Yes, Joseph.
Well,
You look younger already, Joseph.
I what?
You look younger already.
Well, what's the song? I was older then, I'm younger than that now.
Great song, yes.
But no, I was going to kind of paraphrase or bastardize something that I think Clint's brother said, which was something about, if we're lucky, we get older, but immaturity can last a lifetime.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, have you ever heard the expression "youth is wasted on the young"?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Being the youngest, I agree with Susan. I happen to be the youngest, and it's just always had the state of mind that I was young, and so I'm older. And what is that? I was older than I'm younger now.
Yes, great
Thanks.
song.
Thanks. Well done.
Thanks, Joe. Yep. Sue.
Yeah, I was thinking that it would be really cool if this is easy, Luke, to share that 6-minute video. I have a fascination with health and mind aspects, and I'm sure that's what Joe has been doing in his book, and I don't know a lot about him, but I'm curious. But is there a way to hear that video on its own, or I can do it in the repeat of this call? But
It's a YouTube video.
okay.
We can put the
And
link in Love and Healing.
we could put the link.
Okay,
Yes.
super. Thank you so much. I would love to share that because I have a friend who's just gone through chemo and radiation, and I think she could really use some being younger for her body to remember all the things that were happening. So, yeah.
We'll
Thank
definitely
you.
put the link in the Love and Healing WhatsApp chat.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you, everyone. This was a great call.
And Susan, that's a great idea. You know, and also just every day in our life, just keep reminding yourself, tell yourself, know it. I am younger. And don't just say it as an affirmation. Feel it in every cell of your body. I'm younger. Run, dance, sing, throw a football, do whatever you need to do to stay younger, because you are younger. We are younger. Let's all say it. Let's unmute and say it together. We are young. I am young. I am young.
We are younger. We are younger. We are younger. We are younger.
Just came in.
Imaginative.
They just came in. We are so young.
We are so very young. I'm still 19 years old, 19 years young. All right, everybody. So I guess it's time to move into breakout rooms.
Hey, Luke, one more thing. Joe's mom, who's 99, says, how old would you be if you didn't know how old you were? And that is a great question.
It's a good question. In fact, she's turning 100 this year, isn't she?
In November, yeah.
Yes, imagine that, 100 years young.
Yeah, 100 years young. Yeah.